Ayushmann and Andrea, welcome to the Raj and Pablo show. It is just the one of us today, which means this interview will kind of make sense. Ayushmann, how are you first? We haven't spoken to you for a while.
I'm very good, Pablo. Very, very good. And it's been a while, yes, long time. And it's always fun chatting with you. So I look forward to this interview.
Okay, so firstly, the film is pronounced Anek, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because I was having this my mom was like, I'm sure it's Anek. And so we were having this conversation watching the trailer together. So I said, no, I'm sure it's Anek. Firstly, Andrea, I want to come to you because I was trying to do my homework. So I know you're in the modeling field, but this is your first kind of Bollywood debut.
Right.
Yeah. So how did this happen?
It was actually a pretty unexpected thing. I think I was just in the right place at the right time. The director, Sir Anubhav, he came across a picture of mine and he decided to cast me. And I just so happened to be in the same city. So yeah, I mean, I went in for a meeting and they told me, I mean, at the time, everything was still pretty confidential. So I was just told that, they wanted to cast me as a female lead and that they wanted me to be a boxer. So yeah, I mean, after that, things started kind of taking flight and I started my training and that's how it went on.
And then you find out that Ayushmann is in the movie.
Yeah.
I have to say something about this guy. We've been following his career for a long time. And I think there's an anniversary you're marking in terms of how long you've been in the industry now. But we've kind of seen all the different type of roles he's done. And I'm not just saying this because he's here. Because his choice of movies is incredible. He's got better as an actor. Not that there was anything wrong when he started, but we've seen him grow. So when you found out he was in the movie, was your first instinct to kind of go, I've got to go and watch, I don't know, Vicky Donor, I've got to go and watch all his movies or what have you? What did you think? What did you know about Ayushmann?
I will say that I was very ignorant when it came to Bollywood or like Indian cinema as a whole. But I kind of had like a suspicion that it might be Ayushmann. Because they weren't telling me who like my co-actor would be, and at the time I had just watched Article 15 because they had the same director and everything.
Yeah.
I was like very excited because I knew like he gave such a stellar performance in the film, and yeah, I went on to watch some of his other films, and it's a really big honor.
So Ayushmann, so let's talk to you, mister. Now, you know what? Firstly, I have to say congratulations to you because on the OTT platforms and, what have you, loads of versatile roles. So well done. I hear nothing but praise for you. And I really do mean that. And now you have a different look. You're playing an undercover cop, dealing with something that's quite a sensitive issue in terms of the territories in India, especially at the present time in terms of, the language factor. What attracted you to this role?
It's always the film more than the role. I always prefer to just go by the story than the character per se. I'm not a very selfish actor. I work for a plot-driven story more than a character-driven story, and this is definitely a very plot-heavy film. It's a heart-wrenching tale that questions what it takes to be an Indian, and it acts like a binding force in our country. And this is the first time we are exploring Northeast. And I always wanted to do a film based on Northeast, and it's like a dream come true with the great director like Anubhav Sinha.
And I think there's a lot. When I was watching the trailer, it says it all when you're in the car and you're saying, okay, but when do we just talk Indian? Do you know what I mean? And I actually kind of felt like that's such a good sentiment of the present time with, the little bits that have been going on about so-and-so cinema, because at the end of the day, we are all Indian, right?
Absolutely. As an artist, you have a certain social responsibility, and Anubhav Sinha is that director who has a very distinct voice in Indian cinema. And I'm glad we collaborated again on this particular issue, on racism or stereotyping. So it's a very important film.
And there's and like you said, Andrea, you're playing a boxer, so there's two different stories going on. So in terms of your story, you want to represent India, but you kind of come across all the, obstacles on the way, including your own family who are kind of like, well, can you do this? Could you relate to any of that? Was any of that relatable for you?
I would say my family, like career-wise, my family was fairly supportive. But I think I can relate to the fact that she's kind of like trying to find her place in the country. You know, she doesn't know why she's not at par with the rest of her peers, or like, you know, why she isn't being selected for the national team when she knows she has it in her and she's just as good as everyone else. So yeah, in that kind of perspective, I think I do.
And I always like asking this question because obviously, it's out on the 27th, so we don't get to see it until then. So I'm just going on the information that I have collected. But on set, what was it like, Ayushmann? Was it? It feels like it's been quite an intense movie.
It is, of course, but it's also that we are shooting in a totally different terrain and different demography. Northeast is a beautiful place. Shillong is called the Scotland of the East, and though I have been there before, but shooting there was a lot of fun. Like we started in Kaziranga in Assam, and we went for the safaris, and it was beautiful. And then we went to Shillong, and she made me taste some local cuisines. So it was beautiful. So it was not just, of course, like the film looks very rough and tough, but apart from that, exploring the unexplored part of India was a lot of fun.
Yeah, you say rough and tough, and this is you all over. Again, you got a different type of physique. You're kind of very overpowering. If I'm right, your physique looks quite overpowering, quite dominant. So, was there a lot of working out going on for that?
Yes, of course. I had to
As
look
always,
like an alpha undercover cop, so it required that kind of body type. So I worked really hard for that, and it was a lot of fun because it's so different for me.
and Andre, you play a boxer. So, I mean, have you ever boxed before?
I am not I'm not a boxer. I had to learn. Yeah, I had to take up a lot of new classes, I mean, I think I have a pretty impressive skill set now because of this film. But yeah, I had to, yeah.
So, I mean, for you, tell me how you felt when you wrapped up the movie. It's your first movie, first Bollywood movie. So when they said it's a wrap, can you remember how you felt?
I remember taking a big grand bow and everyone applauding for me. There were a lot of high fives, and yeah, I mean, it was really emotional because I really formed like a great relationship with everyone on set, and of course the girl team, you know, the hair and makeup and everyone. So yeah, I mean, I was really upset to leave that environment, but yeah, I mean, everything good must come to an end, I guess.
Aishma, I have to ask you, do you remember your debut? And when they said it's a wrap, how did you feel? What was your first movie?
Vicky Dona.
And how did you feel when it was a wrap? You scared thinking when Vicky Dona comes out, what are people going to think?
When you're doing your first movie, you have no idea what's happening around you. Seriously, you are just like a lost cow. Yeah. You're just following instructions, and you don't even know whether you're doing a good job or not. So it's that sense of confusion, anxiety, nervousness, and excitement. It's a mix of everything. It's going inside your heart right at that time. So yeah, you're lost and excited. So I was just like Andrea, my first film. Yeah.
Well, listen, Andrea, it didn't do too badly for Ayushmann. So I just want to say to both of you, best of luck with the movie. Looking forward to watching it. And as always, Ayushmann, a pleasure talking to you. And Andrea, great to getting to know you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pablo.
Much.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Ruckus Avenue Radio.